Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. On today's show, we will have an update and review of town meeting that happened on Wednesday, May 4th. We will also have a nice around the town tour, stopping at Crossroads Physical Therapy, the new business at 128 Main Street, stopping at our high school for a vocal solo night, and also heading over to Stone Park for Green Up Ashland. So stay with us as I bring you Around the Clock.
When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just take out my gin and grin and say, oh, the sun come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. What comes may tomorrow, I love you tomorrow, you're only a day away.
Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for the review of the town meeting that happened on Wednesday, May 4th. It was inside the auditorium of the Ashland High School. We had just over 100 residents in attendance. There we go. That's the word. It was a short meeting, short number of articles. There were 11 articles that were taken up, or there were 11 articles on the warrant. 10 of them were taken up. And after some discussion, one of them was sent back to the Historic Committee. So town reports, we heard updates from the Public Safety Building, and it's one of those where you can drive by and see the progress. We also had update from the Mendez Building Committee. It's a little harder to see the progress that's happening there, but there's a lot of concrete that's been poured and steel is about to be going up. And they're going to be doing a topping off ceremony on Monday, June 12th. The steel won't be done, but they want to try and do something with the kids still in school. We also had a budget/review from the school department in regards to what their requests were, what are the kind of things that they're working on. It was sort of nice to see what priorities are and how they're working toward their mission and vision for our schools. It was also interesting to see the number of students. There's about 2,800 students in the Ashland Public Schools, and that is preschool through our 12th grade students. From there, we went into some of the traditional basic town meeting warrants, town meeting articles transferred from General Stabilization Fund. There were some funds that were moved out of other accounts and into the Stabilization Fund. We had a discussion of the fiscal year 23 budget. That went through pretty easily. And our budget, and I'm just going to go look at it real quick because I don't remember it offhand, is about an $87 million budget. And I'm going to get to it. I should have been turning to that page beforehand. Well, it's about $87 million. And that includes some of the enterprise funds as well. From the budget, we went to capital authorization. There's $500,000 that's going toward capital projects. We then reviewed and approved increase to the economic development budget. The economic development department was started about 5 years ago. If you know Beth Reynolds, she's our economic development director. We've added another person to that department, and we see the benefits from that because of the number of businesses that are in town. 128 Main Street, the new physical therapy business that's there, is because of the work that our economic development department does. Some of the businesses at 21 Main Street, the bagel table. So they've been very, very impactful in regards to bringing more businesses into Ashland. So that was approved. Annual consent for some approvals for the select board and town manager went through easily. Annual consent for CPC funds. So every year we have to authorize the payment of bonds for some of the projects and some of the properties that we've purchased. And that is now done in a consent agenda item rather than 4 or 5 different articles. It all gets rolled up into one article. The next one that had a lot of discussion was to amend the bylaw for the demolition delay for historical or architecturally significant property. This came, there were a number of friendly amendments presented before we even started discussion. Then there was a couple of other amendments made or tried to be made on the floor. And one of the things that we heard from a number of people was that they felt it needed to go back to the Historical Commission and get a little more fleshed out. And there were a couple of areas that just needed a little more definitive and refinement. So with a very close vote of about 40-something to 30-something, it got approved to go back to the Historical Commission, and we expect it will be coming back in the November special town meeting with some of those refinements and some of those questions answered and refined. Article 10 was a citizen's petition, and it was put on there, even though it mimics what the bylaw was by the Historical Committee. The citizens petition, they were not sure if the historical delay bylaw was going to be made, so they got their signatures and got it on the town meeting warrant. Because of the decision that was made with the historical committee's bylaw amendment, both of these are now going back, and I expect they'll be combined, even though they're very similar, and they will come back as one article in the fall town meeting. The last article was to accept the Net Zero Framework Resolution. There is a very lengthy document that our Sustainability Committee has been working on in regards to how can we get Ashland to net zero by 2040. They got approval of this at the town meeting, I believe in 2020 or maybe 2019, to be working on a plan. And now we accepted this resolution as to how they're going to look at moving forward. So more work will be done. If you want the full details of their plan, you can go to the sustainability website via the town website. We wrapped up at around 9 o'clock. Thank you to those who participated and were in attendance in person at the high school, but also thank you to those who watched via cable or live stream. It's sometimes people are not yet comfortable to come out, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but I do appreciate, and we all appreciate, all those in attendance and all the feedback and the discussion that was related to all these warrant articles. And that wraps up the annual town meeting that happened on Wednesday, May 4th. Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Around the Town tour. We're going to start over at Stone Park for the annual Green Up Ashland Day. It is always the first Saturday of May. The Green Up Ashland Committee does a great job. And it's amazing how they've transitioned now. You can register online, and then when you go down to pick up your bags and your t-shirt, you let them know that you've registered online. There are always snacks available, and if you haven't registered online, you can still register. They are also looking for people who will sponsor a street. So you can pick up a couple of bags. When you've cleaned up around your area, you can let them know, and DPW comes and picks up those yellow bags. If you've ever seen the yellow bags that are around, you know those are from Green Up Ashland. It's always a fun event. It's always usually a nice day. I think it was a little chilly this year, but it's always nice. Congratulations to Gene Walker and Karen Dan Barboza and the rest of the crew for what a great event they do with Green Up Ashland. From down at Stone Park at the Pavilion, we're going to head to downtown at 128 Main Street.
1, 2, 3.
And there is now a wonderful new physical therapy business down in the bottom floor of 128 Main Street. It's called Crossroads Physical Therapy. It's owned by a lovely couple, Ashley and Joe Peroni. And we had the opportunity to have a chat with them as well as be there for the ribbon cutting. Let's go take a look and a listen.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Joe Peroni is my wife Ashley, and we are both physical therapists, and we're really excited to be opening here in Ashland.
Yeah. What made you choose downtown Ashland for your business?
I think after seeing a couple places in a couple different towns, I just think that the visibility of the traffic and, having Ashland be a good commuter town, I think was some of the main things that we were looking at.
Who should come see you?
Everyone.
Yeah.
No, no, but really, I think everyone can really benefit from physical therapy. Just like you have a primary care doctor, I think you should have a primary therapist. As we get to learn your body through the lifespan, whether it's a backache, a shoulder ache, knee pain, I think it's important that things get assessed and you make sure you're on the right track. And I think everyone could use a little bit more individualized conditioning in their programs.
Oh, thank you everyone so much for joining us. I think you all know me. I'm so happy to be the Economics Development Director when businesses like this come to town. So I met Joe and Ashley, about a year ago? Almost a year ago. We had coffee right down the road, and I told them about our wonderful community, and they were hooked. So they found this wonderful space at 128 Main Street, brand new, and filled it with everything that they love. And we are so happy to welcome them here to Ashland.
We're thinking about this space, and when this building was coming into creation, this type of business was exactly what we were thinking about. And I really, you get into this space and you look at how much you've done with it. You're just now getting started. We can't wait to see what you do in the future with it. I do want to recognize we do have representatives from the Select Board as well as Senate President Spilka's office. I always want to say Senator instead of Senate President. I'm still getting used to that. And representatives from the Ashland Business Association and the Metro West YMCA. So they're all here to support you, just like I am. We're here to support you, and just like Beth is. She's here to support you too. We want to see you successful because when you're successful, we are successful as well. And as your business grows, we grow as well. And for you to come in here in the midst of our downtown revitalization project and all the other things that we're doing in town. Yeah, Joe and I were talking about the difference between Natick, no offense to anybody from Natick, and Ashland does these projects concurrently. Natick does them consecutively. Yes. So we try to make sure that we just try to get them all done all at the same time. So again, welcome, and anything that we can do to help you succeed, we'll be happy to do it. So before I move on, I do want to acknowledge that Senate President Stoker wanted to be here, but she could not, and she wanted to extend this proclamation to you, a citation. I will read it. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to the town of Ashland and Ashland Business Association and Crossroads Physical Therapy in recognition of the joyous occasion of the ribbon cutting, and be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate, by President of the Senate and our own State Senator Karen Spilka, as well as the Clerk of the Senate, Michael B. Burke. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. And best wishes. And I know that you've taken advantage of our Business Incentive Program working with Beth, which I think is one of the best things that our Economic Development Department has in its toolkit. So I'm so glad that you are here. And I was talking to Ashley, she took me on a tour. I asked her how we can best support you guys, and she said to referrals. And so I think I found your first one, Adam Sachs. Yeah. So
we both found you.
We already have
this is
so you know,
to hurt yourself just for this. It's dedication.
But if there's anything that our town can do for you, and help you grow, and I know there's a lot going on in your life, and congratulations on your soon-to-be baby that's coming as well, so lots of changes for your family, but we are here to support you, and anything that you need, just please let us know. Thank you.
I'd like to, on behalf of the board members, Valerie Gaines, Peter Weiskarber, Tanner Delt, Beth Reynolds, each of us will get hurt in the next month. We really go above and beyond.
Dedicated board members.
To provide business to our local businesses. But our goal is to promote business, to create education, networking opportunities, to connect local businesses with other businesses in the community. And we also give back through scholarships to Ashland High School seniors that exemplify community service. We give back to the Ashland Emergency Fund and other organizations. So we're just excited to have you as a local business, and this certificate here with a little piece of the ribbon you're going to be cutting, or this certificate is recognition is awarded to you, Crossroads Physical Therapy and Wellness, in honor of their official ribbon cutting today, the Ashland Business Association extends its best wishes for continued success. Welcome to Ashland.
Thank you so much.
As we said in the interview, welcome to Ashland, Joe and Ashley. And of course, if you have any physical therapy needs, and if you want to try out someone different, if you haven't been using someone else here in town, go check out Crossroads Physical Therapy.
So confident, listen, I realize I'm hypnotized, listen, I hear the moon.
We have one more stop on our Around the Town tour. We're going to head over to the Ashland High School. It looks very different than it does when it's town meeting. The stands are set up for the choir, and this is all solos. Always nice to hear our students and see how they've progressed. If you've watched these students from when they were younger to now, it's always nice to see. So let's go listen to some of the wonderful music at the Ashland Vocal Solo Night.
Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Around the Clock. Thank you so much for watching. Again, congratulations to Joe and Ashley of Crossroads Physical Therapy. Thank you to all of those residents who attended town meeting and participated in our local democracy. It's always good to have the discussion and the debate, and we'd love for more of you to join us at future town meetings. Just a reminder, our town election is coming up on May 17th. Make sure you get out and vote. And there's been a couple of forums that you can go ahead and watch and see who you want to vote for. There are 2 contested races. So thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. Today we are speaking with Jane Greenstein and Rajashri Ghosh from Ashland is United. Ladies, welcome to Around the Clock.
Thank you for having us.
Jane, you and I have had an opportunity to speak before here on Around the Clock, but Rajashri, this is your first time.
It is.
So welcome. I think it's been a little too long. You've been doing a lot of good things here in town.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ashland is United has been such a boon to many of us, including me. And so it's been allowing us to express our own thoughts and feelings and being with the community and celebrating the community. So it's been wonderful.
So tell us a little bit about what Ashland is United is. We've seen the signs around town. We've heard about some of the forums and get-togethers that you do. What is the main mission of Ashland is United?
Thank you, Yolanda. So our purpose is to help be a leader, and not the only organization, but a leading organization in creating a culture of inclusivity and acceptance in Ashland. We want to aim to make sure that all members of our community feel welcome and accepted and that they belong equally in our town. So that's sort of our mission, and our charge is to do 2 things then to try to help make that happen. One, to build and strengthen bridges where they don't yet exist between and among members of our community, and to educate and expose people to new ideas and information that will help them see that we have differences that are worth celebrating, and also that in our differences we have more in common sometimes than we are different.
What are some of the events that you've done to bring about and meet these goals?
Mm-hmm. So we started really our first events were in 2017. We started our mission in 2000, we started our existence in 2016. It took us about a year to fully grow into a group of people that was functioning and meeting and connected enough to start planning things. So we started in the beginning with programming around things that are already part of the common human experience: music, dance, and food. We ran some programs through Ashland Day to try to get some of the entertainment at Ashland Day in 2017 to be more inclusive, more multicultural. We ran a couple of programs, Baking Bread and Breaking Bread. Or Breaking Bread was the first one together, and then Baking Bread together, where we used bread and the different versions of bread that are common in different lands and regions of the world to help people understand the meaning that bread and food in general has to from our culture.
Again, surrounding the recurring theme of food, we gather around for deeper conversation, and it allowed us to have conversation about learning from each other, creating brave spaces where we went beneath the headlines to understand each other. And then we had follow-up coffee meetings also.
All virtual.
All virtual.
All virtual, yes.
I was going to say, I want to go to those. Those sound like fun.
Yes, they were. And in fact, we got so much out of it that we presented a report to the town manager, because it was wonderful to see people, meet people, and connect with them in ways that we hadn't earlier. Yeah. And so we received feedback from the same participants and developed a 2-part series virtual event called Curious Community. And we used personal stories that were rooted in culture that helped us really understand that we are different and yet interconnected. Yep. And we used Tree of Life as a visual metaphor to work through our values, our aspirations, and inspirations. So there were 2 events, and really we were so thrilled and so appreciative of all the participation we had.
And what kind of participation did you have in these virtual events?
It ranged, we had participation from members of the community who we had never seen or heard about. There are people who want to connect who've lived in Ashland for decades and didn't know each other.
Wow.
And then for people that participated want to know us more. So in the future, we're planning, in-person meetups if possible, if the situation allows. And so, we had participation from the town administration, we had participation from other groups, and we hope to do that more and more, and hopefully in person, not
Yes.
I know.
I would say for most of our virtual events, we had about 20 participants.
Okay.
Which for a virtual event where people have to turn their camera on and talk is, I think, that can be scary. I know. Yes. We try to create, a space where people feel safe, but also that they can take some risks. And so we kind of don't, in that setting, we don't want to have 70 people like we had at our Breaking Bread event.
Right.
We want it to be more intimate, but we really look forward as in the future, when we can gather together, at having a sort of a balance. That we run some bigger programming again so that we can have a broad reach like we did with Breaking Bread or Ashland Day, but that we also can continue these smaller spaces and conversations where people can really get to know each other, really, not superficially.
Right. Well, it's great. I always love the people who here in Ashland as volunteers find a need that needs to be met, and they fill that need. And I believe that's what the 2 of you with Ashland is United is doing for our community. And it's so wonderful to see.
Thank you. Thank you. The other thing I want to just emphasize is that we also really, it hasn't happened so much during COVID, obviously, but before, and we continue to hope that we can also collaborate and with other groups in town who are running events. Our mission is to make sure that an inclusive mindset is pushed into all programming in town. And so if we can help and partner with other communities, groups that are running things to help them open up their mindset or connect with people that can participate that will make it more inclusive and reach a broader array of people, then that's part of our vision too. And lastly, we want to make sure that we're reminding our leaders in town, who are wonderful people and have actually done an amazing job at trying to create an inclusive community, but we're here also just sometimes we might have an idea that hasn't been thought of. So for example, a couple of years ago, we helped to raise the question of there should be a pride flag that's flown in June, which is Pride Month, to support our LGBTQ plus community in our, and that was an idea that we had that the town wonderfully ran with and supported and is now owning. And so those kinds of initiatives are also part of our mission. And we welcome members of our community who might have a suggestion about something that we can advocate for to reach out to us and give us an idea, because we are only a small team. We may not know of everything that might be valuable.
Well, and I truly believe that for a community to be working well, it is a partnership between elected officials and town staff and the residents of that community. As you said, Jane, as elected, being an elected person, you can't always know everything. You can't always know everybody, but it's important to hear that information and work with it and work with the people who are supporting those initiatives. So again, I think what you're doing is important, and I'm so glad to have had you here on Around the Clock. Now, Jane, I believe you've gone through this little exercise that I'm about to do. Rajashree, there's a question I ask all first-time visitors to Around the Clock. I'm hoping Jane didn't tell you about this. Oh, good. It's actually pretty easy.
Okay, good.
Is there something about you, Rajashree, that not many people may know, but that you'd be willing to share with our viewers?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I learned Indian classical music, which is called Hindustani classical. And I learned it for about 4 years before I had to give up because, education took over my mind. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy classical music of any kind.
Yep.
And whenever I hear Hindustani classical, it's like, I forget everything around me. So
is it as intricate as Indian dance?
Which Indian dance? Because there are a plethora of Indian dance methods.
I don't know which one. I know I've known a number of people who have studied and who have performed.
It's similar, but so Indian classical dances, the ones that you see around in town often is Bharatanatyam, which is from the south.
Okay.
There is Orisi, which is from the east. There's Manipuri, again, further east. There's Kathak, which is from the north. So there are various traditions of classical dance. And Hindustani classical music is also from the north.
Okay.
And so it's a 6-year study, intensive study, theory and practice. And then you get a degree at the end of it, but most people can't pass. It's tedious, especially if you want to go to school and study and get another education. Gets a bit. So I couldn't complete it, but I do understand the nuances of Hindustani classical music.
Wow, great. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for allowing me to
Before I let you both go, anything coming up that our viewers should be aware of that Ashland is United is doing?
So if the town and the state allows, we're looking to organize in-person gatherings so that people who've met on our virtual events can see each other and discuss further plans together. We are hoping to do that. Fingers crossed it should be out and announced very soon.
We have a website, www.ashlandisunited.org, all one word. You can always find out what's going on there. You can also go to the website to view the stories that we mentioned, to send us an email to ask for a yard sign, or to sign up for our mailing list. We have a mailing list. We have over 100 people on our mailing list from the town. And so that's another way to make sure you know when we're running something. And lastly, we are always looking for people to get involved in our leadership team. We've been meeting virtually. My guess is we're going to continue meeting virtually because it makes it a lot easier for people to carve out an hour in their workday, because we do meet in the morning on a weekday. And so if you're interested, just send us an email, ashlandisunited@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to have a conversation, let you know a little bit more about who we are and how you might get involved.
Great. Well, Jane, it's one of those mornings, people. Jane, Rajeshri, thank you so much for coming on Around the Clock, and thank you for the great work that you do for our community.
Same to you, Yolanda. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more Around the Clock.